As an entrepreneur, if it doesn't get solved, it's your problem, right? It is you go in and do it. So I think as an entrepreneur, you sort of need to have that mindset that anything and everything is yours. And anything that no one know how to do, no one want to do, no one love to do. I still thinking back then when we first set up our office, no one will clean the toilet. I'm the one to go in and clean the toilet, right? If you think
Right.
of anything that no one wants to do, you go in and showcase, right? Changing light bulbs to very mundane stuff, right? But I think those are the things that build through. Ask yourself, what's a superpower? What's an ikigai? What are you really good at? What do you really enjoy doing? What you can really contribute, right? I think if you think on it in the end, all of us as weaknesses. Don't worry about it. Find people to complement that. But what we want is all of us operate at a superpower strength.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to Academy On Call, where we go on call with mentors and alumni of Insignia Ventures Academies, various programs for professionals to get into the startup and venture ecosystem here in Southeast Asia. I'm your host, Paolo Aquino, and we are back with another mentor episode. And for the first time, we're having this call with a mentor before their session. We have none other than Chen Chow Yeoh with us here on call. Another special thing about this call, I think, is that Chen Chow is actually uh, quite literally on call with us, like holding his phone as we're talking. So really, literally taking our theme, our podcast theme, to heart. So yeah, thank you, Chen Chow, for coming on call with us, and it's great to have you join us for the show. Where are you dialing from?
Hi, Pavel, and hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for having me. Honored to be here in the Academy on call for Insignia Ventures Academy. So I'm Helene from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm currently at Royal Lake Crab. So this is a 135 years old location in Kuala Lumpur, a historic place here. So
Right.
if you look at it, surrounding is a bit old, but
Yeah.
it's a nice ambience here. And maybe I'll just do a quick intro of myself. I'm
Yeah.
Chen Chow, I'm the CC. So founder of 1% advisory and coaching. So I do bite-sized management advisory, executive coaching, and speaking. I'm also a venture partner for Insignia Ventures Partners. So helping a bit supporting in terms of looking at especially in Malaysia market. Prior to this, I co-founded Fave Group. So it's a startup that we built across, and over the years we exited to Pine Labs, a fintech unicorn from India. And prior to that, I was regional operations director for Groupon Asia Pacific, product manager for jobstreet.com, and mission consultant for Accenture.
Yeah, no, I think I was gonna make the intro for you, but thanks for doing it as well. What I will say though is that thanks to you being a venture partner and Insignia Ventures Partners, that's how we got to meet. We were on a trip in Hanoi, and we were able to spend a little bit of time outside of our kind of like work schedule, and I was really able to get to know Chen Chao, our CC over here, and all the different stories that he shared, and hopefully we're able to go through some of these stories on this call. And hopefully our audience will be able to leave with some really great tidbits. And if you guys are interested in reaching out to him after hearing what he has to say, I'll leave his LinkedIn in the podcast description below, and you can reach out to him and DM him. But yeah, so for this conversation, I wanted to really just go through kind of like your whole journey as an entrepreneur and start from the very beginning. Um, you know, uh, we, there's this common saying that entrepreneurs are not born but made. And so I was wondering whether there's a particular childhood memory or experience that you would say looking back has really shaped you as an entrepreneur and leader today.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, right? I think that in terms of entrepreneur, right? I'm not a early bloomer. So I'm actually a very late bloomer.
Right.
So if you ask me, I think I came from a small town in Penang State, Midland, right? So it's not even Penang, it's much more smaller than that, Iwang. So if you ask me back then and say, would I be entrepreneur or businessman? I would never have thought about it. My parents
Right.
were civil servant, so never thought they would go that, right? And it's a small town boy. So so I think the entrepreneur when in university when I went to Cornell, I had a bit of exposure entrepreneur, but even at that point the thinking and thought of like saying that one day I'm going to be an entrepreneur was not that. It's interesting to hear from this, but it was way beyond me. At least some of you listeners may resonate. Some of you may be exposed to this early on, but there are some people that who may not be as exposed, just like me. don't feel bad because everyone always gone through some beginning. Even though you're like me, you haven't gone through this, it's not never too late. And the fact that you are listening to this, and many of you that going to join a Senior Ventures Academy, like you will likely be able to take a bunch of skill sets, right? And experience to build through. And I think that entrepreneurs, one thing is that most entrepreneurs are very open to share. What entrepreneurs lack a lot of time is time. They are very busy people.
Right.
Often they got so many things. But if you get them on the right frame of mind, where they have time, where they're chill, they're actually very open to share. Because I think entrepreneurs all have hustle story. If you look from outside, it looks great, amazing. You look from outside, every entrepreneur is like, oh
Right.
wow, this guy can chill here and relax. But the thing as an entrepreneur is that your brain never gets to shut.
Mm.
Everything, the bugs that you, right? There are things that you still need to go through. And nothing is too small for you, right? Let's say in a way in a company, okay, now I got a more junior people to take care. As an entrepreneur, if it doesn't let solve, it's your problem, right? It is you go in and do it. So I think as an entrepreneur, you sort of need to have that mindset that anything and everything is yours. And anything that no one know how to do, no one want to do, no one love to do, is you. I still thinking back then when we first set up our office, no one will clean the toilet. I'm the one to go in and clean the toilet, right? If you think
Right.
of anything that no one wants to do, you go in and showcase, right? Changing light bulbs to very mundane stuff, right? But I think those are the things that build through. That I think as an entrepreneur, those are, and if you look at many of the founders out there, right? They are very hands-on founder, right? So let's say Karen from Carol, he's a super hands-on, go down there. Anthony Tan from Grab, he's out there talking to people, being a Grab delivery rider and deliver food on bicycle or bike or car, right? So I think a lot of founders are all in that kind of mode, right? Or even take Insignia, Ying Lan. I will also put it as an entrepreneur while he eats Insignia, right? If you think of it, he built this thing from scratch. He go out there and built that. And it's basically hands-on. It's like every day, every night, I'm quite sure Paulo get hundreds of messages from me and different hours and whatever, but you would think, but the mind of this entrepreneur
Right.
in that play is that, right? And of course, all of us may have, like, let's say for Yinglan, is entrepreneur in the VC industry.
Mm.
What is entrepreneur? So, and then all of us have an entrepreneur, and many of us, even if we are not doing a startup, we are entrepreneur at our home, entrepreneur in our friends group, entrepreneur in something, right? And then if you think on it, is that, right? It's a place where we feel we belong. It's a place that we own it and we are responsible for it to make it happen. So that's how I look at it as entrepreneur. Yeah.
Thanks for really sharing that and really framing entrepreneurship as really more of a mindset than anything else that really can be applied in a variety of different kind of situations or even industries. I'm curious to know, like you mentioned earlier that it wasn't really I guess in the cards for you to actually start your own business. At what point did it suddenly become front and center as an idea and to start a company?
Yeah, actually, this whole thing came about 2015. So 2011, 2015, I was at Groupon. So I started in Malaysia, eventually promoted to take care of operations for sub-region and then Asia Pacific regions. So in early 2015, I got two job offers,
Mm.
right? So one in the telco, one in the ride-hailing industry. And basically, I told Joel he leads Asia Pacific for Groupon. And my boss tell him, hey, maybe I should quit and join one of these companies. And then he called me back a couple hours later and say, hey, why don't we start a company together? So that was how it is, right? So
Right.
I was actually not intending to start a company, but I mean, I've been working with Joel for 4 years as of that time. And he was like, oh, let's go do it, right? And let's make it
Mm.
happen. So that was how I came into it. And I think that and I think as an entrepreneur, there's no perfect mold. If you look at every entrepreneur, it's very different, right? Let's take C Group, C Limited, right? The one normal for those that would know gaming, Garena, for those
Mm.
that know e-commerce, Shopee,
Shopee.
Forrest. Forrest is a very introvert person, very quiet person. He's a very successful entrepreneur, right? And then if you look at it, just I mentioned Aaron Carroll, he's a much more extroverted founder, entrepreneur. And I think there's no right mode. Some are very analytical, some are very visionary, some are very operational, right? So,
Right.
if you look at each of that, the play, it doesn't mean that this role will be a great entrepreneur. I think a
Right.
lot of it is be yourself and going in. So I think for me, as I go in and there, I am not the the most visionary or innovative person. Joe is. And I think for me, it's complementing that. So let's say, example, as we go out there, if we have, let's say, we have a fundraising, Joe will go out there and charm investor. And fun fact, back then, when in our seed round, Yinglan, when he was not yet in Insignia, she basically was there that gave us a seed round investment at a time, right? And pre Insignia days for Yinglan. And I think that for Joe is the one that go out there and say, charm them and say, oh, they say, yes, I do. Let me give you money. And where I came in is basically from that verbal I do until the money sit in the bank, right? And everything in between, right? The same thing when we acquired company, we acquired Groupon subsidiaries, or even when we sold to Pine Labs. The other Joel, he will be the one that charmed them and until they say, okay, let me do this deal at this price. What I do from there is take that verbal commitment until the company is bought or sold and integration is done. So that's where I play. So, and that's where I play as an entrepreneur. Doesn't mean that's the right thing to do, right? But different entrepreneur will then play at a different strength. I think as you're considering building it, ask yourself, what's the superpower? What's the ikigai? What are you really good at? What do you really enjoy doing? What you can really contribute, right? I think if you think on it in the end, all of us have weaknesses. Don't worry about it. Find people to complement that. But what we want is all of us operate at a superpower strength. I said Paulo is an amazing storyteller. He knows things. As I remember in Hana, we were walking around talking, and I was just randomly talking about things, right? And Paulo is able to connect the dots and connect through and think through and put everything into a storyline, which I can't. And all of us will have that gap and whatnot. But what is our superpower? And this mindset came about when I was at Job Street. We can who leads the product team back then. I was in product team. I'm very bad at design. My design doesn't work, right? And because being in that time, I'm still a top rep. When we can, my boss asked me and say, hey, doing design. And he actually told me earlier on and say, hey, you're not good at design, don't worry, we'll find someone. But being an employee mindset at that time, I was like, no. I'm going to learn, I'm going to do it. Right? And I spent a lot of hours trying to make myself better. But I just bad at it, right? And horrible at it. And after a while, when we can ask me 2-3 times, I was like, actually, so my boss was like, oh, if you really can't do it, let me find someone else to handle this. Then you focus on time on doing other parts of it. So even though design is a key component of product manager role, we can have the vision that saying that we will find another person to cover that gap, but you focus on doing what you're great at. And I think that's where, as a grown entrepreneur, you need to be a clear identify and be able to leverage and drive through.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great point. Like, and something even we tell not just entrepreneurs, but also even investors, right? Like when they ask like, oh, how can I deliver value to my portfolio or the founders that help, and we also tell them to think about what's your superpower or what's your what can you draw from your past experience or the expertise or skills that you've built over time to deliver value, right? And I think that cuts across a lot of careers and a lot of vocations. I am curious to dig a little bit deeper into your superpower, as you mentioned, and you specifically, talked about kind of really going through the nitty gritty of ensuring that the acquisitions of, subsidiaries of Groupon in Malaysia were done and completed, and then later on when you sold to Pine Labs, that deal went through. What are some of the lessons that you've taken from, handling not one but several of these, even within the life of Fave?
Yeah. So I think at Fave, we did 9 acquisitions, big or small. 3 of them were the Groupon subsidiary in Malaysia, Singapore, and Asia. A couple of table orderings platforms.